Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Karen, and today I am going to talk about a couple skills that are at play when you struggle to get your child to clean their room. So I'm bringing this up because this is one of the most common chores that parents ask their kids to do. It's one of the basic things that a lot of people expect for their own sanity so that they're not constantly picking up after their kids, and just something that they want their kids to do because they want them to learn some responsibility. So this is so common. It's something that happens a lot where a parent will, a couple things will happen. So on one hand, the parent might say, "Can you go clean your room?" And they might, the child might dawdle, might delay, or maybe they're upstairs cleaning their room, and then you go up a half hour later when the room could already be clean, and you find that they're dawdling and there's nothing done, or they haven't made any progress. And you think to yourself, what have you been doing all of this time? Or something else that might happen is you ask your child, "Can you go clean your room?" They go do it, and you check on it later and it's still a mess. And you're thinking, how is this clean to you? Like, how do you think that this is acceptable and, a clean room? So when those things come up, it can be easy to think, oh, they're just being defiant, they're refusing, they don't care, they're not motivated, or whatever, and think that it's more of a lack of motivation, maybe behavior, and then sometimes we try to fix the problem by giving them some kind of positive reinforcement or a reward, or almost to the point where we feel like we're bribing them. And I'm not saying that rewards and positive reinforcement are always bad, but in this particular situation, if you're not getting to the root of the problem, a lot of times they don't necessarily fix the issue. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about some things that might actually be causing those scenarios. So we'll think about the situation where you send your child up to clean their room, and they're up there, they're cleaning, and nothing's happening, or nothing's actually getting done, and they're not making any progress. And then the other scenario that I described, where they say it's clean, but it's not clean to your expectations. So let's talk about the first one. So these scenarios can be due to what's known as executive functioning skills issues. This is actually pretty common. It's people who have conditions like ADHD, autism, or other disabilities, or maybe if you haven't been diagnosed, but maybe you're showing some signs and symptoms and you're not really sure if your child has a diagnosis or not. Those things make it more likely that executive functioning issues will come up. But there are times when there might be some executive functioning skills you could work on and you don't have a medical diagnosis. So I'll say that to start off with. But there are executive functioning. Let me just define what that is. So these are the skills that allow you to engage in goal-directed behavior. People who tend to be very organized, put together, on time, make forward progress on their goals, stay productive, and just really have it together. These are also people who are able to get their homework assignments turned in on time, do things in a reasonable amount of time, do good quality work, and do things efficiently. People who are able to do those things have good executive functioning skills. And so when it comes to cleaning your room, there are a couple executive functioning skills that could be at play here if the task is not getting done. There are actually 8 different executive functions. And in my free guide that I have mentioned in the description, I talk about what those 8 executive functioning skills are. But let me talk about one of them. So if you have a child who you send them up to clean their room, let's say, and they're up there and they're not actually doing anything. So let's say that they go upstairs and they're doing something, and you go up and nothing's getting done, or they haven't made any progress, or maybe they refuse and they're digging their heels in and they don't want to go upstairs and they don't want to do it and they're avoiding and there's some negative behaviors, maybe some tantrums, that could be due to an executive functioning skill called initiation. So it's just being able to figure out what the first step of a task is. Now, this does require you to think, okay, what's my end goal and what are all the different steps I need to get there? So if I need to get over here, what's my first step? If they're being defiant, a lot of times it's because they know, oh, I'm going to have to go up there, I'm going to feel overwhelmed, and there's a lot of anxiety there, so they'll avoid the activity that you're asking them to do because they know it's going to be hard. We don't like to be in situations where we feel like we don't know what we're doing, so that's a natural thing that all of us do. We avoid uncomfortable situations, so that could be why there's some defiance. Or let's say that they maybe comply and go upstairs and start, but they're not actually making any progress. Well, that could be an initiation issue too. They go upstairs, they're not really sure where to start, so they start procrastinating and playing with their things or doing something that's not what you asked them to do. Or maybe they are making some attempts at cleaning, but they're just not getting to their end goal and it's just not very efficient and it's taking them a really long time. So that could be an initiation issue as well. It's just that they don't know what the logical first step is, so they just get stuck. And so they either are doing things that aren't very efficient or they're just dawdling. So that could be the first scenario. So again, that executive functioning skill is initiation. The other case where they say, my room is clean, and you go upstairs and it's not clean. So that can be due to an executive functioning skill known as self-evaluation. So we have to, when we're doing whatever it is we're doing, be able to self-reflect and look back on what we've just done and make tweaks so that we know, okay, do I need to do anything else? Do I need to go back and fix some things? Did I do good quality work? And this can happen if you have different steps in a process. You can look back as you're doing it and maybe tweak things along the way, or after you've gone through the entire task, can you look back and say, hey, was this done well? Is there anything else I need to go back and fix? So if they aren't able to evaluate that finished product of whatever it is they're doing, such as the end goal of having a clean bedroom, if they can't do that or they're not really sure how to do that, a lot of times they might say, okay, I went up and did something, I cleaned for 20 minutes or whatever, I guess I'm done. And they're not looking back at their work and they're not reflecting. Well, that could result in them saying, yes, the task is done. And then you go up and you think, well, this is not done, this is clean, or this is not clean. So having that inability to reflect and also to understand what clean looks like, what success looks like, if you're applying this to any other task, that is an executive functioning skill as well. And if you don't have that, that can result in not being able to get to the end goal and not knowing what steps you need to take to get there. So we talked today about initiation, so knowing what is the first step. And then we talked about the self-reflection. So being able to, once you've done all the steps, or even while you're doing the steps, being able to self-reflect. So those are 2 executive functioning skills. There are actually 8 more, and these are the things that help you to, again, engage in that goal-directed behavior. So sometimes if you have someone who is struggling with executive functioning skills, it might result in some of the things that I talked about today. It also might result in meltdowns when you're asking your child to do certain things that require them to be independent. It can result in the dawdling or the procrastination. It can result in poor quality work. So maybe you know that they're capable of doing something way better than they're doing it. You know they're intelligent. You know that they're, maybe they say that they care about whatever it is that they're doing, but they're just not performing to their best. they seem to be underachieving in a certain area, a lot of times it can be due to executive functioning skills. So I do have a free guide where I walk through some of the symptoms of executive functioning issues and also what those 8 executive functions are, so that you can have a better understanding of what exactly is going on, so that you can know how to support your kids in becoming more independent. So to sign up for that free guide, there will be, I'll put a link in the comments, but I also will put one in the description so that you can learn what those other executive functions are, so that you can start having a better understanding of how to support your kids. Thanks so much for watching.